The underground command room in Geneva was tense and silent. Military leaders, scientists, and business representatives from across Earth sat waiting, each one aware of the magnitude of the moment. On the large screen behind Admiral Diane Powell, a countdown ticked down. 3 minutes. Harris and the human delegation had just left Nexus Station. Powell turned to the assembly. Plan Omega is now active. Whispers filled the room. Some were nervous, others excited. Humanity had been preparing for this day for 10 years, and now it had finally arrived. Dr. Alan Murphy, head of Earth's secret technology program, rushed in, his wild brown hair sticking out beneath his lab coat. "Sorry I'm late," he said, sliding into a seat next to General Frank Rodriguez. "We just finished the final tests on the shield generators." The general's eyes narrowed. "Did they work?" Dr. Murphy grinned. "Better than we hoped. The new shields can stop any weapon the Council has shown us so far." The countdown hit 0, and a live feed appeared on the screen. Ambassador Harris aboard his ship, departing from Nexus Station. "The Council believes we'll return within weeks," Harris said, addressing the room. "They have no idea what we've been preparing." Admiral Powell nodded. "Then we proceed as planned. All ships begin Operation Silent Departure." Across Earth and its hidden bases on Mars and Europa, ships long concealed from Council observation were now loaded with supplies. Special equipment was packed for scientific teams. Military installations activated stealth defense systems that had remained dormant for decades. In her lab in Arizona, Dr. Lisa Bennett watched engineers install new engines on transport ships. "Will 24 hours be enough to finish all the vessels?" her assistant asked, worry in his voice. Bennett didn't hesitate. "It has to be. The Council will notice something is wrong in about 36 hours when our supply ships fail to arrive." In orbit above Earth, Captain Peter Allen read new orders aboard the patrol ship Guardian. His eyes scanned the instructions twice to be certain he understood. "Navigation set for the Epsilon mining colony," he told his crew. "We need to get there before the Council realizes what's happening." His second-in-command, Officer Jane Butler, frowned. "The Epsilon colony? That's outside our normal patrol area." "Not anymore," Allen said. "Our job just got bigger. We need to bring all human settlements under protection now that the Council won't be helping us." Meanwhile, in New York, the United Nations convened an emergency session. The Secretary General addressed the world's leaders. "For too long, the Galactic Council has treated us like children. They've taken our resources, used our people as cheap labor, and offered little in return. Today, we take back our independence." Some leaders murmured anxiously. "What if they attack us?" one asked. General Rodriguez stood. "We've been preparing our defenses for years. The Council doesn't know what we're capable of because we've never revealed our true strength in space stations and colonies throughout the solar system." Orders were transmitted. Ships altered course. Hidden weapons came online. Messages reached the farthest human settlements. "Stand ready. Protect what is ours. Help is coming." Back in Geneva, Admiral Powell studied a star map of all human territories. "Phase 1 is underway," she said to her team. "We have 6 months before the Council realizes what they've lost." Dr. Murphy glanced at her. "What about the Element 935 shipments? The Council depends on those." Powell's expression grew serious. "That's the point, Doctor. Sometimes people only value what they no longer have." As humans spread across space, unseen and prepared, the galaxy's most powerful council remained unaware. A new era of independence was beginning. Humanity was ready to stand on its own, and no one, not even the Galactic Council, would dictate their future. The massive meeting room on Nexus Station fell silent. Ambassador William Harris rose from his seat, his gray hair and lined face reflecting decades of experience. The room, filled with 7 alien races, blue-skinned diplomats, towering insect-like beings, and even floating gas entities, stopped their whispers. Even the gas creatures in the corner froze mid-color shift. Harris had spent 5 long years at this table, listening to endless debates where humans were consistently dismissed as inferior. Today, he decided enough was enough. "I have heard enough," he said, his voice calm but firm, cutting through the murmurs. Council Speaker Zerkath, a tall figure covered in purple scales with 4 arms, let out a sound that might have been a laugh. "Ambassador Harris, please sit down. We all get frustrated sometimes." Harris did not sit. Instead, he picked up a data tablet carelessly left open on the table. On its screen were secret plans detailing the takeover of 3 human mining colonies, stamped with the Council's official seal. "This does not look like frustration to me, Speaker Zerkath," Harris said. "This looks like you plan to steal our worlds while pretending to be our friends." Shock rippled across the Council. Zerkath's scales darkened, a sign of embarrassment in his species. "That is simply a planning exercise. We consider many possible futures," he stammered. Susan Miller, the second human ambassador, stood beside Harris. Her young face was calm but radiated controlled anger. "Including futures where you break our treaties and take our planets after we helped defend your trade routes against the Promaxian raiders last year." A large gray alien named Quira waved one of her 6 tentacles dismissively. "Your ships were barely useful in that conflict. Without our guidance, your species would still be stuck on your single planet." Harris pushed the tablet across the table. "We have been patient. For 20 years, humanity has asked for equal membership in the Council. For 20 years, you have found reasons to delay. Humanity will no longer wait for your approval. Effective immediately, Earth withdraws from all agreements with the Galactic Council." The room erupted. Some council members shouted questions. Others argued about the legality of human withdrawal. The floating gas beings turned bright red with alarm. Harris raised a hand. 5 other human delegates stood, calmly packing their materials as if rehearsed for this exact moment. "You need us," said the insect-like representative from the Arcturan Federation, his voice clicking through a translator. "Your colonies depend on our protection. The galaxy is dangerous for a young species like yours." Harris smiled faintly. "We have learned much from our time with the Council, perhaps more than you realize." Susan handed Harris a small device. With a press of a button, all Council data screens went dark. When they returned seconds later, every record of Earth and human territories had been erased. "We will protect what is ours," Harris said. "If the Council wishes to establish new relations with humanity in the future as equals, you may contact us. Until then, all diplomatic channels are closed." The human delegation exited the chamber in perfect order. Behind them, Council members exchanged confused, worried, and annoyed glances. "They will come back when they realize how foolish this is," said Cooler confidently. Only Trell, the youngest council member, looked concerned. "I am not so sure," he whispered. "I think we may have made a terrible mistake." Outside the council chamber, Harris took a deep breath. After 20 years of polite smiles and careful words, speaking the truth felt liberating. "Send the signal to Earth," he told Susan Miller. "It's time for Plan Omega." On Nexus Prime, the Grand Council chamber seemed larger than usual, its high ceilings echoing with alien voices. 5 of the 7 council members sat at their seats. 2 remained absent as they waited for others to arrive. "This is a waste of time," said Kulera, her gray tentacles twitching with irritation. "The humans will return soon enough. Why call an emergency meeting?" Trell, the youngest council member, shifted uneasily. His pale blue skin reflected worry. "It has been 2 weeks. Not a single human ship has been seen at any trading post or jump gate in council space." Zerkov entered with Mokhtar of the Vexari Hive, taking their seats at the table. Zerkath's purple scales shimmered under the chamber lights. "The humans have completely withdrawn from council space. All communication channels are closed." Mokhtar clicked his mandibles, a sign of frustration in his species. "They are acting like children. We should teach them a lesson." "For what purpose?" Trell asked. "They have broken no laws." "They have mining contracts they must honor," said Kara. "My people need the metals from their asteroid belt." Zerkath raised 2 of his 4 hands for silence. "I propose we freeze all human assets in council banks, restrict their access to jump gates. They will quickly understand their mistake." The vote was quick. 6 council members agreed immediately. Only Trell hesitated before reluctantly adding his vote. "It is decided. The humans will learn that they cannot survive without the Council's protection," Zerkath announced. News of human withdrawal spread across the galaxy. Some found it amusing that such a young species would challenge the Council. Others ignored it completely. Humans were insignificant in the larger political landscape. In a small bar on Nexus Prime, a Vidian merchant sipped his drink while watching humans pack up their embassy on a news screen. "Good riddance," he said. "Those humans never respected our customs, always asking questions, always wanting to change things." "They will be back," replied his green-skinned, 4-eyed companion. "Where else can they sell their goods? Who else will protect them from the Promaxian raiders?" At the Council Military Command, General Dexfall's sharp red eyes scanned reports. "Have the humans moved their defense fleet?" he asked. "No, sir," replied Vellner, a blue-skinned Arcturian officer. "Their ships remain in the solar system, but they have gone silent. No communications, no response to hails." Dexfall growled low in his chest. "Keep watching them. I do not trust this sudden withdrawal." Meanwhile, the Promexian raiders seized the opportunity. One by one, mining outposts along the human trade routes were attacked, stations were destroyed, shipments stolen, and casualties mounted. For months, the Council had relied on human patrols to guard these sectors, but now there was no one to stop the raiders. At the Council Economic Ministry, minor disruptions began to appear. Luxury foods from Earth no longer reached markets. Building projects stalled without human metals. Entertainment companies canceled shows as human riders returned home. Minister Plex waved his tentacle dismissively. "Temporary adjustments. Find replacements." Weeks turned into months. The Council expected humans to contact them, apologizing and begging to return, but the messages never came. Inside the Council's private chambers, Zerkath conferred with the other leaders. "Perhaps we should send an envoy to Earth," Trell suggested cautiously, "to open a dialogue." Cooler laughed, a bubbling sound that echoed in the room. "Appear weak? Never. They will contact us first." "And if they don't?" Trell asked quietly. "Then they will suffer the consequences of their pride," Zerkath said. "A species as young as humanity cannot survive long without our guidance. It's only a matter of time." But the humans were already rewriting the rules. While the Council believed they controlled the galaxy, human fleets were hidden, shielded, and ready. Their silence was not weakness. It was preparation.
3 months had passed since humanity withdrew from the Galactic Council. On Nexus Prime, the Council had begun to notice the first cracks in their control. Mining outposts that had once thrived under human protection were now falling to Promaxian raiders. The Council's patrols, once reliable, were failing to respond in time. General Dexfall's massive red form loomed over the command center, eyes narrowing at the reports. "Where are our ships? They should have prevented this." Vellner, the blue-skinned Arcturian officer, shook his head. "Sir, human patrols no longer coordinate with us. They've completely withdrawn." Across the galaxy, merchant guilds faced shortages. Riva, a Vidian merchant, walked through her now empty warehouse. Shelves that once overflowed with Earth's coffee, chocolate, and luxury goods stood bare. "My customers are angry," she muttered to her assistant. "They demand our products, and there's no one to supply them." Her assistant, a small green alien, looked down at his datapad. "We've contacted Earth trading companies 10 times. No response. They're silent." Back in Earth's orbit, Captain Peter Allen monitored activity near the outer colonies. The Guardian and its sister ships decloaked simultaneously, revealing hundreds of human vessels hidden in previously unknown positions. "They're everywhere," Jane Butler said, eyes wide. "How did they hide so many ships?" Harris stood beside Admiral Powell on the bridge. "We've been preparing for years. This is what the Council never expected." On Nexus Prime, Trell reviewed reports from the border sectors. Mining stations had been destroyed, Element 935 shipments from human colonies had stopped, and the Council's fleets were in disarray. This is not going as planned," he murmured. Sierra slammed a hand on the table, purple scales darkening. "We underestimated them. They are not begging to return. They are controlling the situation. Every resource we relied on from them is now gone." Kara's compound eyes blinked rapidly. "Without Element 935, our faster-than-light engines cannot be maintained. New ships cannot be built efficiently. Our fleet is in jeopardy." Dr. Siv, presenting on a large screen, added, "We have scoured 3-star systems in search of alternative sources. The costs and risks are astronomical. None are as accessible as human mind reserves." Trell leaned forward, voice shaking. "We need them, not just for Element 935, but for their technology, their innovation. They've been preparing while we assumed weakness." On Earth, Harris addressed the human leadership team. "The Council expects us to fail. They expect us to beg for reinstatement. They're about to learn the truth." Admiral Powell activated a star map, showing human ships and colonies spread far beyond Council sensor range. "Every strategic point is fortified, every fleet ready, and our shield technology now exceeds anything the Council possesses." A young officer raised a hand. "Sir, why not just leave them behind? We're thriving without Council interference." Harris shook his head. "Isolation isn't the goal. We want partnership and respect.
This time, we'll negotiate as equals, on our terms. Back on Nexus Prime, a junior council aide delivered urgent news to Zerkath. The human colonies are fully operational and coordinating without any contact with council forces. Promaxian raids are being countered efficiently. Zerath's scales paled to almost white. They don't need us, and they never did. For the first time in centuries, the council realized they were no longer in control. Humanity had not only survived the withdrawal, they had gained the upper hand.
In a secure research facility on Nexus Prime, Dr. Civ and his team of scientists pored over ancient records collected from all 7 council species. Scrolls, stone tablets, and forgotten star maps were spread across their workstations. "Look at this," Dr. Civ said, pointing to a tablet from the Arcturon archives. It depicted tall beings with unmistakably human features. The writing refers to them as the ones who came from the stars. His assistant leaned in closer. "Could this really be humans?" Dr. Civ nodded. "And not just humans as we know them. These records suggest that humans visited other worlds thousands of years ago. They helped species survive catastrophes, shared critical technologies, and then vanished." On a separate table, another researcher, Dr. Exev, displayed a dusty book from Kaleras' oldest texts. It told of sky guardians who guided civilizations through disasters 15,000 years ago. Every council species had similar stories, each describing beings that looked like humans, intervening in key moments of their history. Mokhtar's compound eyes widened in disbelief. This means humans were space travelers long before any of us evolved. Meanwhile, deep under the Rocky Mountains on Earth, Dr. Alan Murphy examined a mysterious metallic disc discovered decades ago in an ancient city. Covered in indecipherable writing and advanced circuitry, the disc's technology far exceeded anything humans had developed in modern times. President Laura Grant, flanked by Admiral Powell, observed the lab with awe. "Are you certain this is human technology?" she asked. Dr. Murphy smiled. "Yes, but it's from a civilization we've long forgotten. Our ancestors were capable of interstellar travel tens of thousands of years ago. They deliberately returned to Earth and erased much of their knowledge to start over." Admiral Powell's eyes widened. "So the stories are true. Humans were once caretakers of the galaxy." Genetic tests confirmed the startling truth. Humanity carried markers of advanced space adaptation, evidence of genetic evolution for life among the stars. "We've inherited the legacy of thousands of years of interstellar experience," Dr. Murphy explained. "It's in our DNA." Ambassador Harris walked among the artifacts, studying the remnants of a forgotten past. "The question now," he said quietly, "is whether we reveal this to the Council. Do we remind them that humans were once guardians of the galaxy?" Back on Nexus Prime, Zerkath convened a private meeting with the other council members. "We cannot fight the humans," said Makar bluntly. "Our fleets cannot match them if they choose to engage fully." Sarah added, "And we need their element 935. Without it, our civilization will suffer greatly." Trell spoke hesitantly, holding Dr. Civ's report. "It's more than just resources. Humans are not newcomers to the galaxy. Our histories all indicate that they helped our ancestors survive critical moments. Perhaps it is time to acknowledge their leadership." Zerath's purple scales rippled as he absorbed the evidence. Give leadership to humans? The newest species in the galaxy? Or perhaps the oldest? Trell nodded. "They may have retreated, but they are our elders in knowledge and innovation. We have underestimated them for centuries." For the first time, the Council realized that humanity's true strength had never been in numbers or political clout. It was in legacy, ingenuity, and patience. In a secure research facility on Nexus Prime, Dr. Civ and his team of scientists pored over ancient records collected from all 7 council species. Scrolls, stone tablets, and forgotten star maps were spread across their workstations. "Look at this," Dr. Civ said, pointing to a tablet from the Arcturon archives. It depicted tall beings with unmistakably human features. The writing refers to them as the ones who came from the stars. His assistant leaned in closer. "Could this really be humans?" Dr. Civ nodded. "And not just humans as we know them. These records suggest that humans visited other worlds thousands of years ago. They helped species survive catastrophes, shared critical technologies, and then vanished." On a separate table, another researcher, Dr. XF, displayed a dusty book from Kulera's oldest texts. It told of sky guardians who guided civilizations through disasters 15,000 years ago. Every council species had similar stories, each describing beings that looked like humans, intervening in key moments of their history. Mokhtar's compound eyes widened in disbelief. This means humans were space travelers long before any of us evolved. Meanwhile, deep under the Rocky Mountains on Earth, Dr. Alan Murphy examined a mysterious metallic disc discovered decades ago in an ancient city. Covered in indecipherable writing and advanced circuitry, the disk's technology far exceeded anything humans had developed in modern times. President Laura Grant, flanked by Admiral Powell, observed the lab with awe. "Are you certain this is human technology?" she asked. Dr. Murphy smiled. "Yes, but it's from a civilization we've long forgotten. Our ancestors were capable of interstellar travel tens of thousands of years ago. They deliberately returned to Earth and erased much of their knowledge to start over." Admiral Powell's eyes widened. "So the stories are true. Humans were once caretakers of the galaxy." Genetic tests confirmed the startling truth. Humanity carried markers of advanced space adaptation, evidence of genetic evolution for life among the stars. "We've inherited the legacy of thousands of years of interstellar experience," Dr. Murphy explained. "It's in our DNA." Ambassador Harris walked among the artifacts, studying the remnants of a forgotten past. "The question now," he said quietly, "is whether we reveal this to the Council. Do we remind them that humans were once guardians of the galaxy?" Back on Nexus Prime, Zerkath convened a private meeting with the other council members. "We cannot fight the humans," said Makhar bluntly. "Our fleets cannot match them if they choose to engage fully." Sarah added, "And we need their element 935. Without it, our civilization will suffer greatly." Trell spoke hesitantly, holding Dr. Siv's report. "It's more than just resources. Humans are not newcomers to the galaxy. Our histories all indicate that they helped our ancestors survive critical moments. Perhaps it is time to acknowledge their leadership." Zurath's purple scales rippled as he absorbed the evidence. "Give leadership to humans? The newest species in the galaxy? Or perhaps the oldest?" Trell nodded. "They may have retreated, but they are our elders in knowledge and innovation. We have underestimated them for centuries." For the first time, the Council realized that humanity's true strength had never been in numbers or political clout. It was in legacy, ingenuity, and patience. On Nexus Prime, the Council's Grand Chamber was unusually tense. For the first time, the 7 Council members met in private, without aides or advisors. Reports from across the galaxy confirmed what they had long feared. Humans were thriving independently, their fleets hidden and fully operational, their colonies beyond Council surveillance. "We cannot ignore the humans any longer," said Trell, his pale blue skin showing worry. "Their withdrawal has caused shortages, delays, and chaos across Council trade networks, and their fleets, we have no way to challenge them directly." Zurath's purple scales darkened. "Prepare a diplomatic envoy, full authority, whatever it takes to bring them back, peacefully. No subterfuge, no hidden agendas. They must see our sincerity." Captain Lux of the Arcturan fleet was chosen to lead the mission. His orders were simple. Approach Earth, present the Council's terms, and negotiate in good faith. "Remember," Zurath said, "we need humans as partners, not as subjects." Meanwhile, on Earth, Ambassador Harris and Admiral Powell monitored communications from the edge of the solar system. The Council had sent messages requesting dialogue, but humans maintained a calm, cautious stance. "We'll review their offer," Harris said, "but they are coming to us, not the other way around. That changes everything." When Captain Lux's diplomatic vessel, Harmony, arrived at the outer edge of the solar system, Admiral Powell authorized a single secure transmission. A human officer appeared on the screen, her uniform dark blue with the insignia of the Earth Defense Force. "This is Admiral Diane Powell of the Earth Defense Force. State your business," she commanded, voice steady. Captain Lux bowed slightly. "Admiral, I bring a message from the Galactic Council. We wish to reopen diplomatic talks with Earth. We offer full Council membership, fair trading rights, and the opportunity for leadership rotation among all species, including your own." Powell's expression remained unreadable. "Transmit your message. We will review it." Back in the Council vessel, Lux whispered to his officers.
They're not reacting with desperation. This is unexpected. Harris and Powell convened the human leadership team. This is exactly as we predicted, Harris said. They're desperate. 6 months without element 935, their fleet struggling, colonies facing shortages. They have no choice but to negotiate. General Rodriguez added, and we're in control. All decisions are ours to make. Across council space, the envoy waited as Earth evaluated the terms. Every ship, every colony, every hidden technology remained under human command. The council had approached with humility, and for the first time, humans were negotiating from a position of strength. President Laura Grant, overseeing the operation, smiled slightly. This is how diplomacy should work, she said. We engage as equals, not subjects. Lux transmitted the council's terms again, knowing that the outcome would reshape interstellar relations. For the first time, the council realized that humans were no longer the fledgling species they had once underestimated. They were masters of their own destiny. And Earth would decide the future.
The grand meeting hall in Geneva was filled with tension and anticipation. Humans and council representatives sat across from each other, the polished wood tables gleaming under the sunlight streaming through the tall windows. President Laura Grant sat at the center of the human delegation. Ambassador William Harris stood at her right, with Admiral Powell and General Rodriguez flanking her left. Across the table, the 7 council members appeared uneasy in Earth's gravity, their expressions betraying both respect and caution. "Thank you for agreeing to meet on Earth," President Grant said calmly. "We appreciate the journey you've made." Zerkath bowed slightly. "We come with open hearts and honest intentions. The Council wishes to correct its past mistakes and establish a fair relationship with humanity." For 3 days, negotiations unfolded. There were no hidden agendas, no secret plans, and no coercion. The Council admitted that they had treated humans unfairly for decades and offered full membership with equal rights, recognition of human territories, and trading agreements. They also proposed leadership rotation within the Council, offering humans the first turn. Ambassador Harris studied their faces carefully. After 20 years of negotiations and deceit, he could discern sincerity. Humans had no desire for revenge. They did not seek dominance. They sought respect, equality, and partnership. On the final day, President Grant signed the new treaty. Earth would rejoin galactic society as a full and equal member. Human innovations would be shared with fair credit and compensation, and human territories would be respected. Trell, the young blue-skinned council member, spoke up. "We suggest that Earth take the first turn in council leadership. Your species has proven wisdom and patience beyond your years." The room fell silent. Humans had gone from being treated as children to being offered leadership of the galaxy. President Grant responded thoughtfully. "We appreciate the offer, but we do not seek to rule others. We want partnership and mutual respect." Cooler's gray tentacles twitched with surprise. "After all we've done, you do not want revenge, power, or control?" Admiral Powell shook her head. "That was never our goal. We withdrew to protect ourselves, not to dominate. True strength comes from restraint, strategic thinking, and collaboration, not from fear or force." The council members left Earth with a newfound understanding. They had underestimated humanity for centuries. Humans had never been weak. They had been patient, observant, and strategic. On Earth, celebrations began quietly among humans and council observers. Ambassador Harris walked with Captain Steve Brooks in the gardens outside the meeting hall. "I don't understand," Brooks said. "We could have taken control of the council. Why didn't we?" Harris watched a butterfly land gently on a flower. "Because that's not who we are. Humans don't need to control others to be strong. Strength lies in restraint, wisdom, and partnership." Above Earth, council and human ships prepared to cooperate in new ventures, marking the beginning of a new era. For the first time, humanity had proven that diplomacy guided by strategy and respect could earn the trust of even the most powerful interstellar civilizations. Months after the treaty, Earth and human colonies were busier than ever. Hidden fleets and newly established settlements revealed humanity's true capabilities. Advanced shield technology made human ships nearly invisible to detection, while transport and defense vessels moved seamlessly across the solar system and beyond. Captain Peter Allen convened with leaders from all human colonies aboard the space station Freedom. "Our expansion continues," he said. The Council now knows our reach, but they still don't fully grasp our capabilities. That's our advantage. Humanity had not only reclaimed independence, they had strengthened their position through innovation, foresight, and cooperation. During their time away from Council oversight, humans had discovered and allied with 5 species unknown to the Council, forming bonds of trade, research, and defense. On Nexus Prime, the Council members gathered again, this time to review humanity's progress. Their once dismissive attitude had turned to cautious respect. Dr. Siv presented evidence from ancient archives. Humans had traveled among the stars long before the current Council species had evolved, helping civilizations survive disasters, sharing knowledge, and leaving artifacts across the galaxy. The humans were never newcomers, Trell said quietly. They are ancient. Their legacy stretches back thousands of years, and now they return, not as subjects, but as equals. Zerkath's purple scales shimmered with a new emotion. Understanding. Cooler's gray tentacles twitched in approval. Even Mokhtar's insect-like mandibles clicked thoughtfully. They were witnessing a species that combined ancient wisdom with modern ingenuity, a species that had chosen cooperation over domination, strategy over aggression. 4 new habitable planets had been claimed, shielded by technology the Council had never imagined. Back on Earth, President Laura Grant, Admiral Powell, and Ambassador Harris observed the activity across the human colonies and Council territories. Trade routes were active, defenses were in place, and alliances flourished. Do you think it will last? Admiral Powell asked quietly. President Grant smiled. It has to. Strength without arrogance, partnership without subjugation. This is the future. The Council needed to learn that real power is not control, but collaboration, and humanity will be there to lead by example. Across the galaxy, young civilizations on distant worlds looked to the stars with wonder. They would not inherit a universe dominated by a single species, but a community of equals. When these new species eventually reached the stars, they would find guidance and friendship awaiting them, just as humanity had offered and had once received thousands of years ago. As humans rediscovered their ancient past and built a new future, the galaxy entered an era of unprecedented cooperation, innovation, and mutual respect. Humanity had returned to the stars not as conquerors, but as stewards and partners, ready to guide and protect, while learning and growing alongside all other civilizations. The stars were no longer a frontier of conquest. They were a community, and humans had reclaimed their rightful place among the guardians of the galaxy.